Rukshan.
Everyone, we are here on the Race at Home Championship round 3 of the total of 6 rounds. Today it will be Interlagos, Sao Paulo, the Grand Prix circuit, and now you are watching the qualifying of the Pro Class. The Pro Class runs GR3, also known as GT3 cars. And we have Irshan and Shammi, Thiago Pereira, Akil, Kevin Pereira, Ashan Silva, Viren and Brian Pereira on the track right now. 8 cars on the track. Kushan Piris is also joining in. And Kurt Martinstein, Riaz, Sesh and Adab. 14 cars on the grid today, and the Race at Home qualifying is on.
Hi Rikshan, good afternoon to all the viewers. We're live from Interlagos. This is actually the pro race going on, qualifying going on currently. So it's going to be a very interesting race. It's a very technical track, and it's definitely going to test the drivers, and we'll be hoping for some close battles throughout the race. So for those who are watching for the first time, so the race format is there'll be a 10-minute qualifying session, and followed by the race one, which will be the normal grid. And based on the finishing order of the first race, it will be reverse grid for the second race. So that's how the weekend format goes on. So yeah, let's hope to see some close battles. Rukshan, what do you think about the weekend?
The weekend sounds great. It looks perfect, and it's a privilege to join with this team here right at the race control. The race is brought to you by PETRONAS SYNTIUM, hosted by Ceylon Motorsports Club, and it's a wonderful experience altogether. And we look forward for a very exciting qualifying session today. And I have Niroshan joining with me at race control on the commentary right now.
We've got 14 drivers today. A bright, sunny morning in Sao Paulo. We've got about 6 minutes remaining in qualifying. 14 drivers vying for the pole. Race should start within the next 10 minutes. It's maximum. We've got about 5 minutes more of qualifying. And right now, we've got Brian Pereira with a fastest lap time of 1 minute 38.56. Brian, if I'm not mistaken, is driving the Porsche.
Yes, Porsche 911 RSR.
Porsche 911 RSR, and it's a challenge that we have. We've got Rukshan here with me, and we've got the 14 drivers in Sao Paulo. We've got Rukshan in Colombo, and Irfan sitting at his house. So this is realistically an absolute race from home, and the officials are also from their own homes during a lockdown period. And we thank our sponsors once again, PETRONAS SYNTIUM, SLT MOBITEL. This championship is powered by SLT MOBITEL, and it's presented by PETRONAS SYNTIUM. And we also thank our partners, Lab 57, who repair all kinds of cars in their state-of-the-art workshop. We've got House of Glass, who manufacture all types of glassware, as well glass for domestic purposes, as well as for all types of construction. And we have got AAAR, who are our partners, who handle all our social media. Irfan, your comments. You've driven on this track last year, I think, when you were taking part in this championship. How technical is this circuit?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, it is very technical. So fortunately, I was able to win it last year around. So I mean, it's a real test, and I think we had the qualifying, driver seating in this track as well. And the main reason was to choose, this track was because of the technicality of it. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how these drivers handle it under pressure. So I see some drivers have changed their cars for this weekend as well. So Viren was usually driving an Aston Martin. So this weekend he has chosen a Toyota Supra. So a lot of tactical games going behind this as well. So hope he has made the right choice for this one.
It's brilliant to see all these drivers driving all the advanced cars on this GT3 series, on this race from home. Pro Class drives it's a GR3 cars, also known as GT3. We see Adam Junaid driving Porsche 911 RSR, and Akhil Rizni drives a Chevrolet Corvette C7 GR3 spec today, and Ashant Silva, as usual, is on a Porsche 911 RSR again, and Kurt Martinez Chevrolet Corvette C7 GR3. 14 drivers driving different types of cars today, and it's a fantastic sight to see. And we see Thiago Pereira. Now we see Irshan on track in a red Porsche. It's the sunny, dry race as we see, and the qualifying one is on, and it will probably be ending in about 2 minutes remaining. Yes, 2 minutes remaining, and we had a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, the time set by Brian is actually a pretty competitive time. 1:30.8 is a really tough time to beat. He has really set the benchmark here. So we'll see if anyone will be able to topple that time.
I remember Brian has been racing in Booth circuit as well. I used to be an avid fan of Brian's racing when he was driving the formulas in Booth circuit. So he's quite a talented driver, and it is a pleasure to see that he also showcased his talent in a digital version of racing as well. So he's currently on pole, provisional pole, and Kushan Piri is just 0.07 seconds off Brian, and we are down to 1 minute 55 seconds remaining on the qualifying. And Viren Boteju is currently third. I think Viren is driving
A Toyota Supra.
It's a Toyota Supra today. Yes, Viren is driving a Toyota Supra. Usual car is Aston Martin V12 Vantage, and today he has switched to Toyota. What do you think? What would be the reason that these guys have changed their cars around for Interlagos? Is it the technicality of the track? Irfan, what have you got to say on that?
Yeah, I think probably he must have tested both the cars and found this more comfortable for his driving style, probably. So only time will tell on how he will perform during the race. So he was doing very well with Aston Martin as well. So let's see how he drives about in this race.
Who do you want to put your money on for this race weekend in the race one?
Well, it's really tough. I mean, it's really close on the at the top. So there are Brian, the Pereira brothers are really competitive, and also Rushdie, Akhil, Rizni, Viren, all are really competitive. So today it seems like Rushdie is struggling a bit as well. So which is a bit of a surprise, but it's going to be a close battle between the top three. So between the top contenders in the championship.
The Pereira brothers looking out the front row, and they are quite competitive in all formats of racing, starting from karting through to Formula LGPs, running at Pandala and Katakurunda, and Brian has experience in racing in international circuits as well. The Pereira brothers looking out the front row. It appears to be turning out to be a fantastic weekend for the Pereira brothers. I'm sure their dad must be really enjoying this live show, one of my very good friends, and we'll see how this turns out to be into the first corner, the Senna S, when they start the race. It will be quite eventful, and probably around 3 to 4 cars can go a breath into Senna S in this format of racing. And yes, Kushan is on. Kushan is currently on P3, and Brian Pereira taking the pole. Mevan Pereira taking P2. Kushan on P3. Irshan Viren on P4. Martinez on P5. And that was the qualifying for the round 3 at Interlagos of this Race at Home Championship, presented to you by PETRONAS SYNTIUM, powered by SLT MOBITEL. And our partners are the very famous Lab 57 and House of Glass and AAAR, the social media partner. And the drivers are lining up for the race now. Irfan?
Yeah, we got the top 3 driving a Porsche, and then we got Viren. So and the drivers are off. Brian seems to have got a good start, and that is Kurt, who's trying to come inside from the inside, and Brian manages to get him again. I think he just overpushed it a bit. Mevan drops down one place, and and I think Viren goes off the track as well. It's been a very tense start. Everyone's trying to push their limits, and Brian is keeping his calm and maintaining. No, and his brother seems to have got the better of it. Sabri, what do you think about the start of this race?
It seems this year's change to the standing start has really got a good dynamic into the race. A lot of
I see Mevan Pereira taking the lead now from the brother. Brian started on P1, and Mevan has taken the lead into. We are still in lap 1 of the 18-lap race here, and Thiago Pereira all the way climbing up to P3, and we saw Kurt having a bit of a moment after the first corner, and still the Pereira brothers leading the first 2 positions, P1 and P2, and Thiago joining in for the party.
Yeah, so the Pereira brothers are giving a good fight. Viren has dropped quite a few places as well, so Thiago is getting into the action to grab the lead. So there is a very tough competition going on at the moment.
Brian and Mevan both are driving Porsches, right?
Yes, you're correct. They're both of them are driving a Porsche. I think the top three
are
all Pereiras and all driving Porsches. 9 left.
Thiago just made a brilliant move on down the inside to gain second place from Mevan Pereira. It's a long race actually. I mean, when you consider the tire wear, the fuel, the strategies, everything is going to come into play. So it's just the second lap. Let's see how the drivers manage that as well.
Viren has seemed to have picked up a 1.5 second penalty. Kevin has dropped further behind. Irfan, seem to see Riaz Hafrat also struggling at the back of the grid right now.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty strange to see some of the experienced drivers struggling today. So we see Ashan Silva also right at the back trying to gain some positions, but probably a bit of rustiness in the drivers. So we have to actually mention about Seshan as well. He's a very young, talented driver who did a really good race last round as well. So he's currently keeping the champion driver Ashan Silva right behind him as well. So a good piece of driving from Seshan.
You think it's the choice of car for Riaz, which is putting him down?
Probably I have actually not seen him drive this car before, so I assume he's driving this for the first time.
That's a Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah, the Volkswagen Beetle. So he used to drive a Hyundai, if I'm not mistaken, previously. So
bold choices for the GT3 category.
Yeah, exactly.
Kushan Pereira slipstreaming Kurt Martinez, and he gains a position. He moves up to He loses the place again to Kurt. He slipstreamed Kurt and got into P6 and again have lost the position, and that was quite a brilliant move by Kurt in order to regain his position. That was fantastic. Brian is still leading. Mevan Pereira P2, Thiago Pereira down to P3 again. He attacked one of the Pereira brothers and got into P2, and again
there he goes. He's go again.
Yeah, back again. Thiago is a brilliant move, and the two cars going side by side into, and yes, Brian is leading away from the pack, and there's a fight for position number 2, 3, and 4.
Amazing to see 4 Porsches leading 4 in the top 4 cars, all running Porsches, and the car of choice. I somewhere down the line I heard the conversation about the Volkswagen. It's a phenomenal car. It's got amazing torque. It's a 6-speed. It's got a lot of acceleration, ideal for this circuit. But the only downfall is that the car is quite thirsty. So Riaz is going to have to pit much earlier than the rest. And we see Thiago being hounded by Mevan. And Rushdie is also a very astute driver. He's not going to give in very easily. Let's see what happens.
And the fastest lap recorded by Rushdie, it's 1 minute 31 seconds. That was quite a time. And
yeah, the battle between Thiago, Mevan and Rushdie is really helping Brian. He's managing to extend his lead, so it's helping him to pull over from the rest.
It's very interesting to see some of the rigs that these guys are running on. Irshan is running on a basic table with a 21-inch screen and a Newstel plastic frame. So for them to be running up here and talk with some of these pro drivers on their first season in the pro class is very good.
Oh wow, that's something to pick from. Driving in a plastic chair and just on a 21-inch screen, he is bringing in a lot of talent without the tools, without all those sophisticated tools, and yeah, that's pretty impressive, isn't it, Irfan?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to compete in such level with minimum resources is a really great thing to see.
We see Mevan make another pass on Thiago. It's a good battle,
but it's also giving Brian all the opportunities to pull away.
This Senna S seems to be throwing a lot of opportunities at these drivers, aggressive drivers. They can go out on the outside of a certain drive and still secure their places, isn't it, Sabri? We see this in other types of racing as well, especially in Formula 1 Grand Prix races as well. People have the opportunity to take 2 lines on this heavily technical track,
yeah,
and it's...
That's right, this is a very technical track with many lines which allow you to either block or take the fastest line, but if you've got the corner sequence right, you can't carry enough speed to go around there, so you're right.
And that
we see Viren closing on as well to the front runners. He will be joining the battle for second place as well. As we see, I think Mevan, there has been a collision, I reckon. So
yeah, seems to have been an incident between Mevan and Irshan.
Mevan accidentally put 2 wheels on the grass, lost it, and in his trajectory backwards onto the track, he accidentally came into Rushdie, and both of them went off for a short period. Mevan escaped, but poor Rushdie had no chance. He's fallen down a little bit. In the process, that Thiago has managed to get a bit of sunlight between himself and Mevan, but Mevan is going to come out of this one. It'll be interesting to see at what point these guys do start blinking for the pit stops. Sabri, you would be absolutely proud to see these guys driving, because 1 year ago, a little bit longer than a year ago, we were racing against the Indian team, and it's lovely to see how these guys have absolutely matured in their racing skills. If we just notice the second, third, and fourth, that means Thiago, Mevan, and Rushdie, they were racing bumper to bumper, and no quarter given, no quarter asked, and neither touched anybody in that little trio.
That's right, Roshan. The level of competition has really increased as well as discipline. And it's good for you to mention when we had the race with the Indians. As we can also see, from then to now, a lot of new drivers have come along and joined, and also progressed far quicker than some of the older veteran drivers that have been competing in CMSC for a while.
Moving on to Brian Pereira again, he's still leading the race quite comfortably, close to 2.5 seconds away from Thiago Pereira, who's on P2. And can we also take a look at the mid pack as to what's going on with the middle order drivers? There's quite a pack going into the that's the Desquidado Lago. Well, we have a 4 kilometer, slightly over 4 kilometer track at Interlagos, and quite a technical layout and 2 straights. Rita Oposta throws a whole lot of opportunity at these drivers after passing Senna S and going into Curva do Sol. You can pick up the speed going into the corner number 4 and 5. It's a double left-hander, and these drivers are driving in excess of 200 kilometers per hour. True, this is digital. It's digital form of racing. No physical danger. However, looking at the racing aspect of it, you have everything for your own control, either to gain or lose, be hero or zero, even if it is digital racing. And people are getting ready for pit stops. Irfan?
Yeah, now I think it's the crucial part here. I mean, to see what kind of strategy everyone is following. So I think Brian is comfortable enough to use any strategy he wants at the moment. So it will be a close call between Thiago, Mevan, and the other front runners.
So we
see
Adam, Sesh come into the pits already. Wonder if they're on a different sort of strategy. Will be interesting to see. Go ahead, Rushka.
Sapri, if I may ask, who planned these strategies? Did the drivers plan the strategy, or do they have backup support at the pits?
The strategies are planned by the drivers either beforehand or during the race, but obviously, just like in F1, it's up to them to change the strategy midway if they feel that they need to use a different strategy. So, as you can see, the back runners are trying to do overcut on some of the front runners at the moment.
Yes, and it might turn out to be good for the people who are undercutting the leaders. And
there we see all the 3 leaders coming in: Thiago, Brian, and Mevan, Viren, Kevin, all have come into the pits.
The rest of the pack pits, yes. The Pereira brothers in the pits. All the top runners are now in and going out. Akil Risni, Kushan has moved into P2. Irshan is leading the race now.
Yep.
So they'll most likely pit in the next lap. They might be able to pull out an undercut.
So almost all the drivers are following a similar strategy here. So let's see how it turns out to Rushdie, Kushan, and Akil.
It looks like a one pit stop race.
Thiago is out of the pits and rejoins at P5. Mevan rejoins at P6. Oh, we have Kevin Pereira. I just did not notice that all the three brothers are on this pack. All the three brothers are on this race. I only noticed Brian and Mevan to see that Kevin rejoins behind his brother on P7. Mevan Pereira, Kevin Pereira and Thiago Pereira in P5. Kurt on P8. Shammi, Viren, Adam. And the race leaders have not yet pitted so far, so they are coming into the pits now.
They're just coming, yes. Okay.
So after this pit stops by the current leaders, I think all the race drivers, all the 14 drivers would have pitted by the next lap. So we are on the 10th lap of 18 lap race. Halfway have passed. There goes out.
So Brian takes back the lead. Thiago in second, Mevan in third, and Kevin in fourth, and Shami in fifth. Viren has now got to sixth. We have Kurt following shortly behind.
Yushan has also managed to come up in between Kevin and Mevan.
So Irshan seems to have gained a few seconds out of that strategy action, I believe.
Kevin Pereira currently on 5th, and we have P1, P3 and P5 perfectly gapped by Thiago and Pereira brothers are on P1, P3, P5, all the odd numbers. They've taken the top 5 odd numbers, while Thiago is fighting on P2. There's a lovely battle going on between P8, 9, 10, Kushan Piris, Kurt Martenstein, and we have Akil Rizni. They are all battling for P8. They are battling with the P7. They are all battling for the same position. And we will see what comes out at the end of this lap. Into the final corner, onto the main straight. The leaders have started lap 11.
It really does seem that Viren has had another edge on some car, because Porsches are dominating even on the straight, where should have had a good chance, but definitely getting hounded down by all the other Porsches and
Sabri, do you think if Viren chose to drive his Aston Martin V12 Vantage, would it have helped him than the Toyota Supra? What do you think?
Rukshan,
Let me tell you something about Viren. He's a very strange character. He likes to be different from everybody else. He's a very talented driver, but this puts him down. If he was to choose Porsche 911.
Go ahead. All right. So he likes to do things a little bit differently than to the rest of the pack. That means.
Yeah, he likes to be different. But this, as I've known him for a long time, is the thing to put him behind.
I think we should give some credit as well. He's trying to do something different. So, I mean, rather than sticking to the conventional, Porsche, which is a fast car. So, we'll give a bit of credit to him on that.
Viren Buttigieg is a brilliant driver. I remember in 2012, Colombo Night Races, I couldn't reserve my car number 26, the chassis number 26, the LGBs, and Viren got the car, and he drove a fantastic race on that day, and went on to lead the race throughout, and ultimately winning the Colombo Night Race 2012. Sabri, do you remember about that? And
Yes.
he was absolutely taking full control.
That's the thing. He's a very good driver. He spent a lot of time preparing for that race. If I'm not mistaken, he used to take a bus after work to the racetrack, and he used to walk it every night.
But I still see Viren still has his fighting spirit and still fighting for the position. And Adam is on P7 and Viren is chasing Adam. And Adam, I hear that he's only 13 years old, so not bad for a teenager who has just started his teen years. And Viren is quite giving a bit of a time to Akil Rizni. And coming out of corners, the Supra seems to be oversteering a bit. And I saw there was a bit of a moment Viren was going through. Probably, oh wow, that is slipstreaming and going into the first corner, the Senna S, we will see. Oh, that was brilliant move. Defending off from Akil Rizni and still trying to hunt down Adam. And Adam is keeping it cool, and Viren is running off the track quite often. Sabri, what do you think? Is it the setup of the car, or is it his driving style?
The
Supra is a high torque car. So coming out to the corners, you can expect it not to be able to put your foot down where the rear end is going to come out quickly.
Rushdie Irshan has
gone off the track.
got into a podium place now. He had an unfortunate incident at the start of the race, and he seems to have got his rhythm back, and he's fighting for second place with Thiago currently.
Brian Pereira still leading, and Kurt Martinez is finding it a little difficult. And is he leading the race? He's on runoff and trying to rejoin. The car seems a little undrivable. He's now on P14 and looks like he has no damage, as we can see from the race control. No damage. It's a mechanical failure, I hear. Okay, so he's rejoining and tries to continue the race. Kurt was driving a fantastic race today, and while we talk about Kurt, the throttle cable has come off. Okay, I learned that the throttle cable has come off Kurt's car. However, as we were speaking of Kurt going off the track, the Kevin has recorded the fastest lap time, 1 minute 30 seconds 0.943, and all this time everybody was driving the 131, and we have now got into the 130s as the cars are on fresh tires after their pit stop and little lighter. Sabri?
Yes.
Now the last few laps of the race, everyone's on a tank of fuel. Nice battle brewing for second place. Thiago doing really well to keep a fast line, but at the same time block and keep Rushdie behind. Rushdie being forced to go on the outside each time. Good squeeze here.
We did not speak of Ashan Silva, one of the very, very, very pro racers in Sri Lanka, who has also taken part in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. He's currently running at P13. Probably Ashan finding it a little challenging in this race to get in the front and fight out with the pack leading. Ashan is currently P13.
Yes, he was trying very hard, practicing yesterday, but I think he's finding it difficult in this technical track, and he might have had a bit of bad luck at the start of the race.
It's good to see that we have racing stars also racing with this Race at Home Championship round 3 taking place at Interlagos. We would like to also give big thanks to our sponsors. These races are brought to you by PETRONAS SYNTIUM, powered by SLT MOBITEL, and we have partners Lab 57, House of Glass, and AAAR, our social media partner. And what you are witnessing right now is the Pro class driving GR3, also known as the GT3 cars. We have the Porsches, the Supras, and Chevrolet Corvette, and Aston Martin. On this race, nobody is driving the Aston on this race. We have Adam Junaid, Akil Risley, Ashan Silva, Brian Pereira, Kurt Martinstein, I beg your pardon, Kevin Pereira, Kushan Pires, Mevan Shandika Pereira, Riyaz Hafrat, Seshan Gunasekara, Shami Alves, Tiago Pereira, Viren Butteju, and Rushdi Sham. That makes the 14 of the pack, and we are on the penultimate lap, lap number 17, and one more lap to go. And we will see whether Brian manages to stay in the lead, keep his lead. The number 2 position is like 9 seconds behind the race leader. Irshan is number 2.
We can see Thiago dropping back. His tires seem to be shot. Mevan and Kevin are giving good fight. Looks like Thiago pushed a bit too hard at the beginning of the race. I mean, right after the pit stop.
Probably the battle between Ruti took the toll out of the tires. So he's struggling now, and the final podium place is up for grabs for Thiago, Mevan, Kevin. A close fight between them. So the last lap is going to be really interesting.
This race is turning out to be very interesting because the P3 position is closely battled by Thiago, Mevan, and Kevin. And I'm sure one of the Pereiras are going to be on the podium anyway. He's leading the race now. We are into the final lap. Mevan has entered into the final lap. Irshan is P2, Mevan Pereira P3, Thiago unfortunately losing the battle. There's a lovely battle going on between P3, 4 and 5. Going into the first corner, the Senas and cars are following each other, trying to slipstream out of the corners. Mevan Pereira holds on to P3, and Thiago, I think Thiago is losing a little bit of, he has lost the grip of his tires probably. He finds it quite difficult. And here comes Kevin going parallel with Thiago into the braking zone, but Thiago manages to stay ahead.
I think he's going to find it difficult. And Thiago makes a lovely move. Can he hold it? If he plays it right, he can finish in third place with Trump. It's going to be three across the line for sure.
Wow, I love this battle. It's a fantastic battle going on between Thiago Pereira and Mevan.
He managed to act as well.
What a race.
4 cars have joined the party. 4 cars have joined the party of the podium. 4 cars battling it out with just a nudge.
Brilliant drive by Thiago.
Brilliant drive.
And that marks the end of the Pro Class Round 1 at Interlagos today, the 3rd round of the 6th round championship of Race at Home, presented to you by PETRONAS SYNTIUM, powered by SLT MOBITEL. And there you have the provisional results. Brian Pereira taking the win from pole to flag, Irshan P2, and Thiago taking the final spot of the podium, and Kevin Pereira and Brian Pereira closely following in. And however, on the last lap, at the right moment, Thiago pulled a beautiful move on the Pereira brothers and managed to stay ahead to claim the final spot of the podium. Irfan, over to you.
Yeah, it was a close finish for the final podium place, and it's going to be a really interesting race too, where it's going to be a reverse grid. So all the front runners of this race are going to start from the back. So I saw that Viren came into the pits at the last lap. I think he ran out of fuel, or it's a bit strange that he had to come on the last lap. So These are the final standings: Bran Pereira, Rusty Irshan, Thiago Pereira, and Mevan Pereira. It is.
So we will be back with you shortly with qualifying for the AM class.
We'll be back.
Is it the richness of its heritage, the beauty of its natural bounty, the state of its state-of-the-art, or is it the bonds that bind us? For decades, SLT MOBITEL has been linking Sri Lankan lives and uniting the nation. Whatever the future may look like, we'll always be right here, connecting you to the things you care most about. SLT MOBITEL, the connection. What makes a nation great? Is it the richness of its heritage, the beauty of its natural bounty, the state of its state-of-the-art, or is it the bonds that bind us? For decades, SLT MOBITEL has been linking Sri Lankan lives and uniting the nation. Whatever the future may look like, we'll always be right here, connecting you to the things you care most about. SLT MOBITEL, the connection.
Yeah, listen, Irshan pushed me into the right hander and didn't give me space, so I had to brake deliberately to avoid spinning.
Sam, you're on this comms, you're not on the official comms.
4 minutes more. 4 minutes more. Sabri. Qualifying will start in 1 minute.
Go ahead. Yes, okay. Hold on. Sir, you want to understand?
Sub, I'm on. Is he glitching? No, he's still in the lobby. Okay, done. Yes, Sabri. Yeah, but
Goes on the commentary.
okay.
Yeah, okay, we'll do that. We can hear you, Sabri. Good afternoon, everyone. We are now live with Race at Home Championship Round 3 AM class, and all the drivers are driving GR4 cars, and the track is Bathurst down in Australia, Mount Panorama Circuit, and we have 10 drivers participating in this race. We have 10 drivers participating. Adisha Kitswith driving. Adisha Kitswith, Imdad Hussain, Imesh Silva. Imesh Silva drives the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo Final Edition GR4 car.
Inuk Madhyamarachi, Mahilal Piris, Mevan Vikmasingha, and we have our good friend Rai Zubaim, Sachetana Patirage, Sam D. Smith, Viranga Fernando. We have a total of 10 drivers ready to compete with each other, and they are on qualifying session right now. Image drives the Lanza Evo Final GR4 edition. Mevan drives a Ferrari 458 Italia, and Viranga on a WRX GR4 car. Emdad Hussain again driving a GR4. Mahila WRX GR4. And Inu driving a Lanza Evo Final GR4. Sachetana Patirage driving a Ferrari 458 Italia again, GR4 class. Rai Zubaim on TT Cup 2016, and Sam D. Smith driving a Lanza Evo Final GR4 class. So most of the drivers have opted for Lanza Evolution, the most, I would say, the most popular GT car in Sri Lankan context. Everybody who competes at the national level, most of the fastest drivers choose to drive Evo as opposed to Subarus. And our national champion and the very fast driver Ashan Silva drives the Evo as well. So today we are here at Bathurst. It's an evening race, dry weather conditions, and we will see who manages to take the pole and start the race leading the pack.
Yeah, so Imesh Silva is currently on provisional pole. Imesh is the current championship leader as well. He is closely followed by Tiran Pereira and Rai Zubaim. So he is continuing his form onto this weekend as well. So good piece of driving by Imesh.
Also real life.
What a better way to spend a fantastic Sunday afternoon than to race on this Race at Home Championship Round 3, presented by PETRONAS SYNTIUM, powered by SLT MOBITEL, and supported and partnered by Lab 57, House of Glass, and AAAR, the social media partner. What do you think? Who do you put your money on today? I mean, we have Imesh clocking the first flying lap with, or we have the fastest lap going at 2 minutes, 13 seconds, 0.119. Who do you put your money behind today?
My money is on Imesh on this race actually. So he is currently, I think, about a second faster than second place Rai Zubaim. So as I said, he has been driving phenomenally well throughout this championship. I mean, the first 2 rounds, and also in this round he is continuing his form. So my money is on Imesh.
Rai Zubaim currently on P2. My memory goes back to the days that we used to race in the same pack, Formula LGB Funnelless Championship, and Rice was always chasing me, or I was chasing Rice. He's another brilliant, talented racing driver who has been karting from the Batramulla karting track that long time back, and we all got into the formulas with Sabri was in the same pack as well, racing each other, having great fun. Sabri, what do you have to say about Rice? How does he fare in this digital version of racing?
I think Rice has been one to be racing on a simulator for the longest period of time. He has been racing on simulation since before we started running Formula LGBs over 10 years back. I think a little longer than that as well. So I think last year he raced in the Pro class. This year he could not meet the qualifying session because he was getting married on that day. and he missed out on it, and that's why he's been relegated to the M class. So we should see him as a top contender for this race because he's got the skills as well as the knowledge to race with the pro guys. So we should see where he comes. But like Irfan said, money's on Himesh because he's performing and he's leading the championship at the moment. Seems like he's got a good grip of this race as well, being qualified for.
Yeah, what a fantastic synopsis there. On Himesh is leading the championship and currently on P1. And looking at this circuit, unlike the Interlagos, this is a very fast spread circuit, mountainous, massive elevation changes, and very, very long straights. So how would these cars, especially the Conrad straight coming to the last chicane, how would these cars handle in a track of this nature? Because when you look at the corners 11 to 17, those are winding corners, and with camber changes, it's quite a challenging track. I've driven on this track digitally in couple of years back just to enjoy. It's very difficult to get your lines right. It's very difficult to memorize the track. Sabri, what do you have to say? How difficult it is to run on this Mount Panorama circuit?
This is a very technical track and it's a very narrow track. So if you make a little bit of a mistake, you can end up getting over the grass or going into the barriers very easily, which will deter the rest of the race or rest of the lap for you. We have a lot of Sri Lankan drivers who have actually raced here in real life as well, but none of the guys who are competing today. From what I know from the people who have raced here who told me, described the track, it's a very unforgiving track. And the speeds that you can achieve here in a low downforce car can be a little deadly. And as we know, the GR4s are not like the GR3 cars we saw earlier. They're much closer to stock specification. So,
and we are now ready to race. And on P1 we have Rais Umaim. He has managed to jump Himesh into pole at the last moment, and there you go. Race is on, and Himesh is leading from the back. Rais is falling back. Rais is having some kind of trouble.
He had a bad start.
It was a terrible start from Rais. He has fallen way back to 6th from pole. But Himesh seems to have got a good start, and he's already been chased by Inuk, but he has. It's very hard to overtake in this track also, right? Since it's very narrow and there is little room unless the driver in front makes an error.
And what the funniest part is, it has a very brief run into the corner one from the starting line. So there isn't much that a driver can do in order to fight for positions at the launch itself. But you are having perfect opportunity down the mountain straight and also on the Conrad straight coming back to the race start point, and we will see how this winding tarmac is going to give the best throw the best opportunities at these drivers. We have 10 driving today. Himesh leading from Inuk. Emdad is on P3, Mevan is on P4, Sam on P5. Rais, unfortunately, the very, very experienced driver, having a very bad start at the race, have now fallen back to P6, closely followed up by Sachetana.
Why Rais fell back. So you see, unlike the DR3 cars that are all in rear-wheel drive format, DR4 cars, your original platform, if it's 4-wheel drive, the car still remains 4-wheel drive. And I think Rais' car is in a rear-wheel drive format. So
the launch has been.
Yes, I think his
the launch has been bit of a.
With the drive.
Right. All right. So that explains Dear viewers, coming to you from our very expert Sapri, who knows his cars very well and who knows his racing more than he knows his cars. So that explains why Rice has fallen back to P6 at the start, and now he's trading at P7. And we have Viranga on P8 and Manilal on P9, and the fastest lap goes to Imesh with 2 minutes 18 seconds. That was quite an impressive lap recorded by Imesh. What do you think, Irfan?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I said, he's on top form right throughout. So he's continuing that, and he's making very little mistake right now as well. So he seems to be very focused. So, but I mean, he has not pulled. He's just 1 second now, closely followed by Inuk, another experienced driver. So Inuk was also there last year in the championship, so he has experience as well.
I see the top two cars are all driving Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution Final Edition GR4 spec, and we have quite a lot of drivers driving the Evos today. Technically, an easier car to drive, or is it a very challenging car to drive? Sabri, what do you think?
No, so Rukshan, this is the 911 RSR for the GR4 class. It is the dominating car. From what we saw from last year's championship, most of the guys have figured out that this is a car that you need to be driving. Makes it easier to use. It's well on the tires, it's well on the fuel, and it's way more consistent and has a good balance of everything.
So that is why drivers are opting to drive use the Evolution in the GR4 rounds in the AM class. That is fantastic choice, and the guys know their cars well. That explains. And currently Emdad is up to P3, and Imish is leading from the pack. And we see a couple of Ferraris also running. Personally, one of my favorite cars when it comes to sports and GT cars. How would the Ferrari fare in this whole situation? I mean, they are all rear-wheel cars, I suppose.
Yeah.
And mid-engine rear-wheel drive. So can they really throw a surprise here, or they are like the middle order? They would do well in middle order. What is it?
It is a good car, Rushan. Last year we had Racing, if I'm not mistaken, running this car, who did really well. Turned out to finish second in the championship. Good car, a little tougher to drive, like you said, because of the engine layout, mid-engine rear-wheel drive. But driven in the right hands and used properly, it can give the Evos a good run for its money.
That is understood, Sabri, and we are on the lap 3. This race is a 10-lap race, the AM class, and race at home championship round 3 at Mount Panorama Circuit, Bathurst, South Australia, is presented to you by PETRONAS SYNTIUM, powered by SLT MOBITEL, and we have our partner sponsors Lab 57, House of Glass, and AAAR, our social media partner. Irfan, over to you.
Yeah, I think Imesh has got a comfortable lead right now. Seems like his tires look in good condition as well. He's not been pushing as hard as he would actually. So even the fuel is in a good limit as well. So quite comfortable for Imesh at the moment. So Inuk seems to be the same, but I think his tires are a bit more worn out than Imesh's as well. So
look at how Imesh is pushing now. We have clocked 214. Previously it was 218, and rest of the pack is doing 218, and Imesh has clocked it. A very impressive 2 minutes 14 seconds lap time. That is phenomenal. So there's no magic for Imesh to be leading this championship. He seems to be in proper condition, properly attuned to this whole format of digital racing, brought to you by PETRONAS SYNTIUM. And Imesh is currently leading the pack with 2 seconds comfortably from Inuk and Imdad.
So we're midway through the race now. We should be seeing a pit stop in lap 5 or lap 6, where the guys will come in to change their tires and just fill up a little bit of fuel to take them to the end. With the layout of the track, I presume the overcut would work better. So the earlier that you pit here, and with the number of laps, you should get better. So if the people who pit in lap 5 should have an advantage over the guys who decide to pit in later, I believe. What do you think, Irfan?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the case in this track. The nature of this track is such that the overcut seems to be having an advantage. So I think we see a battle between Rice and Sam Smith. So Rice is struggling to overtake Sam at the moment. Sam is covering his line very well. So let's see. And yeah, I think I jinxed it.
If you look at Rice, he just jumped
yeah.
Sam Smith. Yes.
Sam
experiencing a bit of a stunt there.
So like I said earlier,
Rice.
It's a tough track, narrow track. You make a small mistake and it's not going to forgive. You'll be out. And you can see Sam has picked up a 1.5 second penalty as well for going off the track and coming back in an unsafe manner.
It shows, and Rice actually was very smart in his move. He put tremendous pressure on Sam and managed to come out and now running at P5. We have a very interesting battle going on the mid-pack as well as the backpackers are trying to sort of the number 7 and 8, Sachetana, Patirage and Mahila. They are giving absolute best into this race, and we see the mid-pack, the middle order drivers, they are having their own game here. Rise on P5 and Sam on P6. Sachetana joining in very soon, and Rise is leading from Sam with a comfortable 2 seconds gap. And looking at the race leaders, Imesh leading away from Inuk with a comfortable lead of 1.9 seconds, and Inuk is trying to get as close as possible, probably to give a late stint attack. We will see who would come out on top when we come into the penultimate lap and onto the final. We are now riding with Imesh. There goes Inuk Madhimarachi, age 14, another 14-year-old. Mudit's son, right? This is my good friend Mudit Madhimarachi's son driving P2. And Imdad closely following in on P3. Not so close. Imdad is 6 seconds behind Inuk Madhumarachi, and we have Mevan running in at P4. 2 seconds down, 2.5 seconds down in his Ferrari 458 Italia. It's a beautiful car to watch.
So there we see,
however,
Rice has gone in, trying to pull the overcut on the 5th lap. Let's see what happens here, whether he can pull out a gap and get in front of Mevan.
the Rice comes into the pits.
Sam following suit as well.
Sam is driving an Audi TT.
That's right. Sam is also driving. So Sam manages to get out in front of Rice.
Very good move from Rice.
Probably Red Bull. Is that the reason that, I mean, both came into the pits together?
Rice has decided to go with more fuel than Sam.
Probably that could have been the reason for Sam to make the jump on Rice.
Yeah.
So I expect to see Imesh, Inuk, Mdad and Mevan, Sachetana also to come in, Mailal, all to come in on this lap. Tires have seemed to be worn out quite a bit and they're quite low, almost nearing a quad tank on fuel. Inuk definitely pushing hard to stay and catch Imesh. His tires are in much worse condition and his fuel level is also a lot lower than the same car which Imesh is in.
Car number 5, 6 and 7, Sachetana, Sam and Rice, they are all very close, giving it a very close fight. This middle order is very, very interesting. It turns out to be very interesting going down on the this is the longest straight that you have at Mount Panorama. The Conrad Straight is very, very, very long and into the left-hander there.
So Sachetana keeping these two behind him. He's got older tires and he's struggling to keep the same pace, but at the same time he's blocking these guys. So they're going to lose out on their pit stop.
Sachetana has moved up to Sachetana is up to P5.
So the leaders are really good. They haven't pitted this lap either. Who knows? They might be trying to do a full race without a pit.
Beautifully slipstreaming on the mountain straight. Sachetana has managed to come out in front, closely fought by Sam and Rice. This is a very interesting battle that goes on between the P5, 6 and 7, and I think I saw someone, still the same three cars, an Evolution, a Ferrari and an Audi TT, all battling for the same position, trying to get ahead of each other, going through the winding part of the circuit. Bathurst, as Sabri mentioned previously, seems to be quite an unforgiving track, not much of runoff areas here, and if you lose it out on the narrow straights and narrow winding corners, you can end up in the concrete barriers. So quite unforgiving track, very challenging. And there you go, Sachetana has fallen back from P5 to P7 and Sam has managed to clinch that spot, and Rice is back to P6. This is a very interesting battle in front.
Yeah, it's turning out to be a very interesting battle. These two have been battling it out from the start of the race. So Rice is keeping on the pressure. I wonder how it will be towards the latter part of the race with Sam having less fuel. So he has to push now, and that will have an impact towards the end. So we'll see how it goes.
And Mdad is coming into the lead now, 7 seconds behind the P2. Mdad,
so Imesh is yet to pit and he's still going on. So that's really.
So now we see the overcut seems to have worked. Mdad is dropping behind.
Exactly.
Oh, it's going to be close. Yeah, they get in front.
No, Mdad has just jumped in. They are really close though to Mdad.
Yeah, that's right.
They have caught up.
Mdad rejoining at P4, 29 seconds in the pits, and he's 4 seconds behind, 4.6 seconds behind the P3. Inuk Madhumarachi is now on P3. I do not know as to what happened there, because Inuk was driving at P2, and he has now come down to P3, and Imdad is 5 seconds behind P4. Seems pretty cool and collected in his car, isn't it? Imdad seems, he's a very experienced driver after all. He seems to stay in its tracks pretty cool. As we speak, he just manages to hold on to his grip. He just went a little wide off to the grass. But anyway, Imdad by nature is a very cool driver, isn't he, Sabri?
Having raced with Imdad in real life, I wouldn't actually call him cool. He's a good racer, but cool would be the wrong word to use.
We are on the lap 8. 2 more laps to go, and we still have Nish as the race leader. Mivan on P2, Inuk P3, Imdad Hussain P4. Rai Zubair manages to stay ahead of Sam on P5, driving his Evolution, but I was told that he's on a rear wheel drive spec. And Sam on P6, and now Mivan is pitting. And Imdad moves up to P3 and Rise up to P4. Sam up to P5. Mivan pits in and in his red Ferrari 458 Italia. There he goes out. And we are now riding with Mivan. Rejoins at P6. And Mivan, I'm seeing that he has not changed his tires, just a refueling stop. Sabri, what do you think? Is it important for these drivers to change tires, or can they still continue without a problem because it's a short format of racing?
Well, again,
what is your expert view on this?
Again, Rukshan, it comes down to the driver, it comes down to the car.
And if you take a look at Mivan's tires, you can see that he has done a good job in maintaining it all this time in the 9 laps. So he's got a good strategy going.
So the race leader is yet to pit, and he's probably
Not going to.
would be able to finish the race as it is. His tires are really in a bad condition, but he has a 10-second gap over second place. So
I see that Nish, the race leader's right rear has worn out quite.
Right front.
Right front. I beg your pardon. It's the right front. It's 70% of that tire seems gone, and probably he would pit in for another set, or he would continue because he has a good lead.
No,
he seems to be going in to do a full race without a pit stop.
but
you can see
his fuel is very low. Do you think he can manage with the fuel that he has?
It's a tough call.
But he's already made a decision and committed to stay out of the pit. So as you can see, last lap he did a 222. That is
roughly 8 seconds behind the fastest time. So it is hurting him. The last lap itself, he's lost about 5 seconds to Inuk. So Inuk might just be able to catch him.
I think with his with the pace that Imesh had, I wonder whether he is on the correct strategy here. It is a risk. Yeah.
It is a big risk.
We are picking on our race leader Imesh. He is now going into the cutting corner up the Griffin's Mount section of this track, and he is managing it absolutely well. The fuel, the tires, and he's on his final lap with a massive lead. He had a fantastic lead over
but he's lost it.
Now it has come down to 3 seconds.
He's lost that. He had a good 12-second lead at the end of the line, but Inuk is catching very fast. It's going to be a close one.
This absolutely, as you said rightly, Sabri, this is going to become very interesting because a couple of seconds ago, The gap was 6 seconds, and now Inuk Madhumarachi
Seems like Imesh
has
has
closed
lost
in on
time.
Imesh. It's less than 2 seconds now. It's 1.5 seconds. And
I think he will be
fear
taken.
that the race leader might even lose out to Inuk Madhumarachi, a 14-year-old, absolutely giving his best on this track on Mount Panorama, giving a run for the money to Imesh, who's leading this race, and now the gap is down to 1.3 seconds. Inuk Madhumarachi is managing his race fantastically well, and he has... there he goes off the track.
What have you done?
Imesh's tires are crying for grip while
And
Inuk
goes
Madhumarachi
Inuk.
takes the lead
Final
and
corner.
moves on to the final straight. And there he takes the checkered flag as the race winner all this time. Imesh has been leading, and Inuk Madhumarachi did an absolutely
What a
brilliant
race.
drive today with a well-planned race. A 14-year-old Inuk Madhumarachi gives the run for the
Why is
money
Imesh
to
on
him.
first?
But the
Sam-
results
Sam-
show
Sam
Sam
ran
we
out
all
of
saw
fuel.
that.
No, Imesh is going as first. Did Inuk have a penalty? It seems like Inuk had a penalty, and it shows as Imesh has
there
won
he
the
goes.
race.
Yes. On track, fantastic driving by Inuk, but unfortunately, due to some problem, Inuk is collecting a penalty. Therefore, he's officially finishing on P2. However, fantastic,
good
brilliant
Good
drive
calculation by
by
Imesh.
Very good.
Very good risk taken.
But I still feel it was unnecessary for Imesh to take that risk. Considering the pace that he had, he could have easily made a pit stop and still won the race.
And we have Imdad Hussain clocking the fastest lap with a 2-minute 14-second flat, and that is impressive. And trying to get on the podium, also clocking in the fastest lap in this Mount Panorama circuit. GR4 AM class race at home championship round 3 happening right here on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. And the round 3 was won by Imesh, and P2 goes to Inuk, and P3 was won by Imdad. Race at home is presented to you by PETRONAS SYNTIUM, powered by SLT MOBITEL, and partnered with Lab 57, House of Glass, and AAAR, the social media partner.
So we'll be back in 10 minutes with the qualifying for race 2 for the pro class.
Thank you, and until then, goodbye.
Is it the richness of its heritage? The beauty of its natural bounty? The state of its state-of-the-art? Or is it the bonds that bind us? For decades, SLT MOBITEL has been linking Sri Lankan lives and uniting the nation. Whatever the future may look like, we'll always be right here, connecting you to the things you care most about. SLT MOBITEL, the connection. What makes a nation great? Is it the richness of its heritage? The beauty of its natural bounty? The state of its state-of-the-art? Or is it the bonds that bind us? For decades, SLT MOBITEL has been linking Sri Lankan lives and uniting the nation. Whatever the future may look like, we'll always be right here, connecting you to the things you care most about. SLT MOBITEL, the connection.
okay, we might have to ban.
Yes, Abri. I'm just finalizing the grid. Give me a minute. Sabri, come in, Sabri. Sabri. Okay, I'm ready to start. Okay.
Welcome back everyone. So this is race 2 and we have a reverse grid starting order. So from the finishing positions of race 1 in reverse order. Bert Martenstein leading the race after a very good start. Ashan Viren getting in between, but Ashan manages to keep the second place.
Yeah. So Kurt managed to get a good start, and it's Kurt from Ashan and Akil Rizni and Viren. So as Sabri mentioned, this is actually the reverse grid from the previous race finish. So that's why you see the previous race front runner starting from the back. So it's going to be an interesting race. Yeah, so we see Kurt holding on first place, and followed by Akil Rizni, another good driver. We saw him in the past 2 rounds driving really well, and also leading the championship, I believe. So
Akil Rizni is seeming to be pulling away from Ashan and the rest of the pack. Viren closely
hounding Ashan.
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the Pereira brothers and all the Thiago try to find a way past from the back. So earlier race they qualified well and they started from the front, so it was a much easier race for them. So now they have a challenge in hand, whereas they start from the back, so they have to really test their skills to move up the grid. So it's going to be a good battle.
Having some technical difficulty. We can't get Rukshan online.
There's a good battle going on between Viren and Adam for 4th place. So Kurt currently holding on first place from Akil Rizni and Ashan Silva. We are yet to see Brian, Mevan, Kevin, either of them move up the order. It's a bit of a tough task at the moment. So
they're all bunched up in 8th, 9th place, Irfan. Very close racing happening there. It's going to be tough to get in front.
Yeah,
but they're closing up. So the advantage that you see here is that the front runners will be able to take it easy on their tires and their fuel, and the guys coming from the back are going to have to fight their way up, so they won't be managing their fuel and their tires as much.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's a completely different ball game from the first race. I mean, as I said, like they had the advantage when they started on the front of the grid. So now it's totally different. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of strategy they use in this race.
Brian and Thiago in 9th and 10th place. Shami Alvis also just in front of them. Riaz seems to be keeping them behind. I wonder for how many laps he'll be able to do it. Adam had made a mistake. Kushan has managed to get in front of him, and that leaves Viren some breathing space.
So it's pretty close between Kurt and Akil as well. So Akil, as you see, has gained on Kurt, and he's just right behind him, giving him a challenge. So both are on a similar car, the Corvette. So it's a similar advantage for both. So we'll see how it turns out.
Good clean racing here.
That was a wonderful move. Really be able to stick it from the inside. Yes, I think he just missed it out. But that was he tried to do the switcheroo there.
So the blocking Kurt having to do on Akhil is allowing Viren and Ashan to close up. And the rest of the pack also now following suit. And Brian has managed to get past Shami. No. I'm sorry. That's Kushan.
Brian has managed to get Thiago, I believe. So he was behind Thiago.
We're having a bit of a technical issue with Rukshan getting online, but he's here now. Rukshan.
All right, guys, back again, and we are on the race 2 of round 3 of the Race at Home Championship, round 3 from Interlagos. And Sabri, I was just about to talk about this race getting very, very interested, because the previous race winners, starting from back of the grid and having done it once, they have all in store in order to give a very good run to the front runners from this race too. So we can, and all the spectators can actually see a fantastic action going on this track, because all the fast front runners from the previous race are starting from the back, and they would do everything at their disposal in order to take the cars on in front. What do you think? It's going to be pretty interesting.
That's right.
Rukshan. You can see lovely pack. Everybody racing bumper to bumper all the way from first place down to the 14th. Right? So these guys are going to have to take the tires, the fuel, everything very carefully and calculated. It's not about making track position. They'll have to pace the race out, another 13 laps left. So it's going to be interesting.
Kurt seems to have fallen back a bit. Akhil and Ashan both have managed to get past Kurt. And currently it's Akhil, closely followed by Ashan and Kurt.
A much better race for Ashan, Akhil, Kurt and Viren this race. They are carrying good pace. Good battle in 4th and 5th with Viren and Kushan. Shami Alvis has also gone up for the battle.
It's very interesting to see, because the entire pack is very tight, and anything can happen in their efforts to pass each other, fight it on the track. And as you can see, Bevan has moved up to P8 and Thiago is following in. The race is getting very, very interesting. And as we speak, Akhil Rizni has clocked in the fastest lap time of 1 minute 31 seconds, 0.5. Now, on the previous race, if you remember, Kevin recorded 1 minute 30 seconds, 0.994. And we are close to about a second slower in this second race. Akhil clocking the fastest lap time. As we go into the race, probably post the pit stop window, we will see some real action taking place, especially with the front runners, as the fast drivers who are running the Porsche 911 RSRs. If I give a bit of an account on the cars running today on this Pro Race 2 at Interlagos, we have 2 Chevy Corvettes, 9 Porsche 911 RSRs, Volkswagen Beetle 1, and 1 Toyota Supra, and a Toyota FT1 GT 1 unit. So technically, the dominant car here
seems to be, the car of choice by the drivers seems to be the Porsche 911 RSR, and it is throwing absolute fun into the entire game here because it provides fantastic action on track, very spectacular, and the spectators can look forward for more action as we go on. We are coming into the halfway of this race. Akhil still keeping the fastest lap time, leading the race. He has clear air right ahead of him, and he can drive, and he can have enough power at disposal so that he can clock in some real interesting fast lap times. But mark my word, when it comes to the pit stops, we will see all the previous front runners clocking faster times than what we see now, and they will definitely get into 130s. What do you think, Sabri?
Yes, I agree. This race, the pit strategy, much more important than the first race. It's really going to determine the outcome. And once the front runners from the last race get back into the front here, we should see the pace start increasing and the gaps in the track to open up. So Mashan also now dropping from second place down to fourth. Tushan and Kurt have both got in front. Akhil pulling a good gap now, almost 5 seconds ahead of Kurt.
Martin Stein running currently at, he was running at P3, now down to P3. He was running at P2 and now down to P3. Kushan Piris has managed to get ahead of Kurt, and Akhil Rizni is absolutely enjoying his evening on this second race because no one has found a way to close the gap to Akhil. He's having a race of his own, while Kushan Piris has moved on to P2 and Kurt on P3. And Ashan Silva, as we can see, technically we see Ashan, regularly we see Ashan on real asphalt in Sri Lankan racing as the man who leads the most amount of laps in the SLGT. And today he has managed to come up to P4 as a result of running the reverse grid. This is what is more important. This is what makes things interesting. Running the reverse grid throws very equal opportunity, an equal opportunity to all the runners in order to show that what they are made of and what they are capable of. Now the race leader going into the Senna S, and through the Senna S still leads Akhil Rizni, and with now he has managed to pull a gap of over 6 seconds to Kushan Piris. We will see what Kushan would do in order to close in on Rizni. And now Rizni is driving a Chevrolet Corvette C7 G3 GR3 spec in his beautiful vivid green car, and Kushan Pir is running P2, cannot be seen anywhere close to him because he has pulled a beautiful gap, a very comfortable lead so far. And we see Brian Pereira now battling it out at P5, Thiago coming in at P6, Kevin closely running in after Thiago at P7, and things are going to get just as interesting as it can on this Sunday evening.
So first have pitted in, and we should see a lot more pits within the next 2-3 laps. So Akhil also midway through his tires, almost at the quarter tank. I presume we'll see him coming in to pit next lap.
What surprises me is that though Brian Pereira has managed to move up to P5, Mevan seems to be struggling at P12 still. He has not gained much of places from where he started this race. What could be the reason?
He pitted. That's because he pitted 2 laps ago.
Oh, that explains. Yes, I actually missed out on the pit stop of Mevan Pereira. That is why he's running it at P12. Now Brian pits and Kevin pits as well. So 2 drivers coming into the pits at just over half mark of this race. We are on the 10th lap with the leader Akil Rizni, and he still manages this 6-second lead to Kushan Piris. And what's going to be interesting on this race is to the latter part of this 18-lap race, that these drivers are going to pull up an absolute stir on this round 2.
So the race leader comes into the pits. Akil Rizni makes his move. This is going to be interesting. Let's see where he comes out. Kushan Piris, Kurt, also in the pits. I think almost everyone has made their pit stops now. So it's race to the finish from here on.
So let's see now what happens to Akil. I think he should be safe.
Yes, he seems to have.
It's going to be close, Irfan.
Seems like he has made it.
Yes, and he's got
through, and he has got
come out with the
gap
same gap
that he went
that he went in with.
A good strategy by Akil. Has Brian pitted, or he's running second? So
Brian has pitted. Brian has pitted. This is a race to the finish.
It's going to be interesting now to see. Brian has made a good pit stop as well to gain so many positions to come up to second. So it's going to be an interesting race now.
I think
Brian is the master of pit strategy, Irfan.
Exactly.
He knows exactly what to do and when to do it.
Yes, you're right, Sabri. So he has been phenomenal in that aspect, and he has been managing his tires, his fuel exceptionally well than the other drivers. So let's see how he's going to catch Akil and give him a fight. Viren seems to be struggling this whole weekend, Sabri. I think he has made the wrong choice on the car this time around. He seems to be struggling a lot.
That has now become a very common discussion at every race weekend. I don't know when it's going to his head. But I am told he's stuck with the 2 cars that he has chosen for the next 3 races.
I would love to see him on a equally good car to Brian and the other drivers to see how he fares. So hope he changes his fortune once he gets the chance to change the car.
I think we'll have to pay him money to drive the same car as everyone else.
We see that Viren is carrying a penalty, slow down penalty. Viren is up to P3 now, and he has 2 seconds added to his lap time. And Akil Rizni is still leads back away from Brian Pereira. Brian Pereira has managed to move into P2 after his pit stop. So just as we predicted, now all the previous front runners who ran in the leading pack in race one have shown the potential, and they are now showing up again with the leading pack. Things are working in their favor, and the strategy is working absolutely well and fine for their advantage. And Akil Rizni, I presume, is yet to pit. And then when that happens, the Brian would have the race lead, just as he did in the previous race. And Thiago has moved up to P9. And Irfan, how interesting is this turn? The race 2 is turning out to be spectacular as we come into the checkered flag.
Yeah, exactly. Akhil has made his pit stop, so it's actually race to the finish between Akhil and Brian. So that's going to be pretty interesting towards the end. We'll see how it pans out. So, and there is a battle going on between Kevin Kushan and Mevan Pereira. So there is some action going on there as well. We saw some ajibaji there. So hope those stewards will take up the necessary action on that. Seems like Ashan Silva has lost quite a few places as well after the pit stop. Seems like that was a bad strategy that he had followed. So unfortunate for him.
We can see that. Okay, yes, I beg your pardon. The Akhil has pitted as well. So in that case, he is managed to hold on to his 6-second lead that he kept from halfway of this race. 5 more laps to go. We are on the 13th lap, and Brian tried to close in on Akhil, but still do not manage to do so. However, we see Thiago charging the pack and try to come. He's currently at P9, and Thiago is having his own line, trying to get some fresh air into the vehicle and going around the outside into the Sinayas. And currently he has moved up to P8, and Kurt Martenstein has lost a place to Thiago on the start straight, and Thiago, I reckon, is now slipstreaming, and he will soon be in P6 because he is giving a fight to Irshan and Mevan. Irshan jumps Mevan into P6, and Thiago has moved up to P7. And this is racing, my dear friends. This is getting as interesting as it can. Akhil leading from the rest of the pack. Brian P2. Shami has moved up to P3. Kushan Piris has come to P5. Irshan on P6. And Thiago in his golden livery Porsche 911 RSR, probably planning his race in the cockpit right now. What do you say, Irfan?
Yeah, it's turning out to be a very interesting race now. There was a very unfortunate incident for Mevan Pereira, who spun just a few moments ago. So he has fallen back now. Seems like Brian is not catching up to Akhil. I think Akhil is having a very good pace, and he's maintaining that distance to Brian. No action as in yet for the win, so there is plenty of action going on the midfield and back of the pack. So let's see how it pans out.
Looking at how Akhil is managing his tires, friends, just take a look. He is managing his tires absolutely fantastic because he's not overdriving his car in his Chevy Corvette, the green car with the bunny on the doors. He is managing the race absolutely fantastic. And looking at Brian Pereira, his right rear has worn out more than what's worn out in Akhil Rizni's car. He's managing his tires well. He's managing his fuel well, and Brian is still having quite a good grip with his set of tires. And looking at Shami, very aggressive driving. His right front and the right rear is like 30% down on the tire wear. And Kushan Piris is coming on P4, and Kevin Pereira. Let's have a look at his tires. He matches his brother with the tire wear and probably the driving style. And coming back to Irshan is good. He's safe. Thiago is driving quite an aggressive race because I see Thiago is his tire wear is a little bit more than the rest of the pack with the front compared with the front runners. And Thiago currently is P7, 1.1 seconds or 1.3 seconds down on Irshan, and Thiago is fighting with Kurt Martenstein. Kurt is giving his absolute best and challenging Thiago. Kurt is driving in his Chevy Corvette, and Thiago in his 911, and Kurt is trying
to pass Thiago. He's slipstreaming, and we will see Kurt might make a move down on one of the straights that is there in Interlagos. And Ashan Silva in his white Porsche 911 RSR is down close to 4 seconds on Kurt Martenstein. Ashan is finding a little difficult in this Sunday afternoon, I must say. He has spent 24 seconds in pits and has got a 0.1 second slowdown penalty. And we have Adam Junaid, son of our very good friend Shafraz Junaid, currently battling it at P10, and Mevan Pereira finding it very surprisingly slower today, especially in this race too. He was at the top, the leading pack in the race 1. Mevan find it quite difficult to pass Adam. Adam is another teenager. He has not even stepped into his teens. And Adam and Seshan and with Riaz and Mevan, they are all fighting in the same pack. Now, Mevan Pereira, P12, trying to take on Riaz, and Seshan is joining in the party, and Viren pits. Viren has decided to pit, and Viren is running P14. There's something terribly not right with the car, as we discussed in the previous race 1. Sabri, things are not turning out to be that good for Viren this weekend.
I do not want to comment.
So you think had he chosen his Aston Martin, he would have done better?
Yes,
We would never know.
He needs a good slap from the wife to be woken up.
And Viren rejoins after his pit stop, and Viren has got a slowdown penalty, and now we would go into the race leader. Oh, look at this! Akhil Rizni is pulling a magnificent gap, close to 9 seconds to Brian Pereira, who's on P2. Akhil's evening has just got better with the race 2. He's pulling a brilliant gap and a very comfortable lead so far at Interlagos today in this encounter, race at home, championship round 3. It comprises of 6 rounds, 2 races per round, and this is the round 3 race 2 happening right here at Interlagos.
We have Kushan
Piris, third place. I think this is the highest he's done for the last 3 rounds. Shown promising results in the first race, and now he's doing quite well here. Another SLGT champion, good contender to Ashan Silva.
Yeah, this race is actually turning out to be a really good one in terms of the championship as well. It's going to mix things up. Akhil, Brian, Rushdie, Shamia, the front runners in terms of the championship coming into the weekend. So this result is going to shake things up and make it more interesting for the championship as well.
And the race ends. The race number 2 at Interlagos ends right here. Akhil Rizni from the first half leading the race and takes the checkered flag, and he wins the race number 2 at Interlagos of this race at home championship program, presented to you by PETRONAS SYNTIUM, powered by SLT MOBITEL, and also supported by our partners Lab 57, House of Glass, and AAAR. Akhil first, Brian Pereira takes P2, and Kevin Pereira. Oh, Pereira brothers, look at them. Kevin was not even close to the podium position, and he has managed to snatch the final podium position, and he's third, Irshan fourth, Kushan Piris. He drove an absolute fantastic race, clocked in the fastest time, 1 minute 30 seconds, 0.545. Now, Sabri, that's faster than the previous races. Fastest lap clocked by Kevin. close to half a second faster, and that proves Kushan Piris has driven a fantastic race too here at Interlagos. And while we wait for the AM class race 2, going back to Mount Panorama, Bathurst, South Australia, we take a break and we'll see you soon.
See you guys soon.
Is it the richness of its heritage, the beauty of its natural bounty, the state of its state-of-the-art, or is it the bonds that bind us? For decades, SLT MOBITEL has been linking Sri Lankan lives and uniting the nation. Whatever the future may look like, we'll always be right here, connecting you to the things you care most about. SLT MOBITEL, the connection. What makes a nation great? Is it the richness of its heritage, the beauty of its natural bounty, the state of its state-of-the-art, or is it the bonds that bind us? For decades, SLT MOBITEL has been linking Sri Lankan lives and uniting the nation. Whatever the future may look like, we'll always be right here, connecting you to the things you care most about. SLT MOBITEL, the connection. What makes a nation great? Is it the richness of its heritage, the beauty of its natural bounty, the state of its state-of-the-art, or is it the bonds that bind us? For decades, SLT MOBITEL has been linking Sri Lankan lives and uniting the nation. Whatever the future may look like, we'll always be right here, connecting you to the things you care most about. SLT MOBITEL, the connection.
last race. I also can't wait. I'm more excited.
Have we done the grid? No.
Sabri, race 2 will start in 1 minute.
We go now? Okay, we go.
All right. Good afternoon once again. We are now at Mount Panorama, Bathurst, from south of Australia.
And this is your race 2 from Race at Home Program Championship Round 3. The M Class Race 2. And we have 10 drivers participating in this race. The previous race results have been arranged on reverse gate. The race is a go. Viranga is on P1, Mahilal P2, Sachet Thanapatirage is running on P3, and Adisha Kitwit, who missed out in the first race, has managed to join the race number 2, and the drivers now go into the first straight, the mountain straight. And this track, as we have always mentioned, is a bit of a challenging track, very difficult to master, no nonsense racing track, I must say. Oh, there he goes, runs wide into the barrier. The Ferrari and who's this? Mahilal crashed into the tire barrier and he's stuck right there, coming out of the quarry corner. And the rest of the cars rejoining the race. Image leading, Emdad Hussain P2, Viranga P3, Rise Wayne P4, Inuk Madhumarachi on P5. Adisha Kitwit, who started from back of the grid, has impressively, in the opening lap itself, has moved up to P6. And Mevan P7, Sam P8. Irfan.
Yeah, I mean, pretty impressive by Imesh. Within just half a lap, he overtook almost the entire grid to reclaim top spot. He started right at the back, and he has managed to pass almost everyone within just half a lap. So impressive stuff. As I mentioned in the previous race as well, Imesh has been performing consistently, and he's doing really well in this category and this whole championship. So pretty good stuff by both Imesh and Emdad to climb so many places within the first lap.
Imesh seems to be a very interesting driver, and now we are looking at P9, Sam, D. Smith and Mahilal. Mahilal actually crashing into the barrier, have lost so many places, and he's now operating at back of the grid, driving a Subaru. And coming back to Imesh, I must say he is back again. He was leading the race on the previous race, the race number 1, and now just one lap, within half a lap, he regained his position and now clocks in the fastest time, 2 minutes 22 seconds. Sabri, what a fantastic drive this guy is giving for a beautiful Sunday evening.
Yes, that's right. Fantastic drive, jumping all the way from the back of the grid up to first place, and getting there and getting it done within half a lap. Very impressive. And we can also see Emdad and Rise who were also climbing up the grid very fast. It's going to be some interesting racing here.
Rise has passed Emdad as well, so Rise is on the hunt for first place. He's after Imesh, so it's going to turn out to be a pretty interesting race this time around.
Okay, if I may ask, Sabri and Irfan, who do you put your money on? I want to put my money on Rise Duvain, because everybody seems to be backing Imesh up. I want Rise. The Rise we know to give a run for the money to Imesh, who's the race leader right now. He was leading 3 seconds, and Rise is closing in on Imesh, and it's just less than 3 seconds of lead from Rise. I want to put my money behind Rise, and let's see what Irfan has to say. I know Imesh is driving a very fantastic race.
No, but you can't write Inuk out of the equation as well. Inuk ran a brilliant race in the first one.
I understand, but when it comes to the experience, what we talk here is when it comes to experience, I'm sure Rice seems to hold a little bit of temperament, and he shows some maturity, and we will eventually see. I don't want to rule out Inuk out of the equation. Imesh is leading less than 3 seconds from Rice, and Rice has a very strong mind. We all know that, and he would definitely give run for the money for Imesh. While quietly, we have to also watch Kitwit. He's a fantastic race driver. Oh, while we were talking about he just lost the place to Sachetana Patirana. And he regains the position back. Inuk has moved up to P6 again. And Rise Uvaim. Mind you, friends, I put my money behind him. He clocks in the fastest lap time, 2 minutes 14 seconds.
So Rise seems to be catching Imesh, but Imesh seems to be maintaining the gap as well within about 2.5 seconds. I hope Imesh doesn't make the same mistake that he did in the previous race on the pits. So he messed up the strategy a bit, but he was fortunate to win it. But this time around, it's going to be a bit tough with Rise closely following him. So I hope he doesn't mess the strategy this time around.
This time it's going to be a lot tougher for Imesh to try and pull off the one pit stop. He will definitely have to pit.
Sabri, let's ride on board Rise, shall we? Because he seems to be putting in some very impressive lap time right at this lap number 3, clocking in his personal best and the fastest overall. He has already clocked in the fastest lap time, and Rise driving his Audi TT is giving his absolute best.
He's dropped his gap down to under a second.
It's touch and go. The gaps just dropped to under 6 tenths now. It will be interesting to see what Rise wants to do. Rise has it there.
Seems like Imesh is under pressure as well. He's making quite a few mistakes.
I see that.
I think Imesh might be taking it easy on his tires as well as on the fuel. I think he's running a slower map. Maybe trying to pull off the no. So.
Let us now ride on board with Rise Domain. Shall we get a cockpit clip from Rise? Because he's just going 8 seconds. And he's just within attacking distance to Imesh. This is impressive driving, and he's quite aggressive on the brakes, quite aggressive on his throttle. Going into this corner on the second gear, closing it very tightly, closing in on Imesh. And if Imesh looks into his rear view mirror, I'm sure he's gonna get a bit of a chill, because it's no easy driver who's chasing him. Rise in his Audi TT, giving absolute best today in this race 2 at Bathurst, and this race at home championship round 3, I beg your pardon. The race 2 is brought to you, presented to you by PETRONAS SYNTIUM, powered by SLG MOBITEL, and closely supported by our partners Lab 57, House of Glass, and AAAR social media partner. And we are still on board in the cockpit with Rise Uvaim, just 1 second away from the race leader Imesh. And Imdad Hussain is following closely in. No, I beg your pardon, not closely in. He's 6.5 seconds down on Rise. And Rise have all the comfort on earth to attack Imesh. It's down to close half a second, my dear friends. And down into the mountain straight. He's on the Conrad straight, going into the chicane, the chase, and coming into the Murray's corner. Let us see the gap. It's down to half a second, and in a moment he will be at attacking distance, going on to the mountain straight. Over to you, Sabri.
Yeah, and then Imesh just made a big mistake there, riding over the curve, getting thrown. But Rise was not able to make.
Imesh seems to be making quite a few mistakes as Rise gains on him. Probably he's not been able to take the pressure so well, but he's somehow managing. I think Rise is gaining on the last sector very much, but Imesh seems to be pulling off on the first and second sectors. So let's see how this goes. It's getting interesting. It's just half a second the gap right at the moment.
I agree, and I quite reckon Rice is pretty aggressive on his brakes around the corners, and he was just right over 0.6 of a second going into the quarry corner, and passing the quarry corner, he managed to bring it down to half a second. So just over the corners, attacking the curbs, Rice is driving pretty aggressive, and if Imesh keeps looking in his rear view mirrors, I'm sure he's going to give into this pressure mounting from Rice.
I'll give you some technical. I'll give you a bit of a technical background to this one. From what I see, Rice is using a lot more rubber on his front wheels than Imesh. Imesh is conserving his tires a lot more. If you look at the tires, Rice's tires are going to drop off. He's lost his sweet spot. You will see Rice falling back a little bit coming about now, because it's not going to be that easy for him. Irfan?
Yeah, rightly said. Rice seems to be pushing too much, and his tires are taking a toll on it. But Imesh seems to be like maintaining the gap within that half a second. He doesn't seem to go away as much as he would like to, but also he is not letting Rice get too close as well. As I said earlier, I mean, okay, so we see Imesh and Rice both, and there has been a bit of a
Rice gets
first, so that it's going to be interesting to see how this ends when they come out of the pits.
I'm not too sure whether this is working, but
so Rice just managed to get past Imesh at the pit entry. Let's see how it ends when they get out of the pit. So Imesh has managed to get out in front of Rice, but they are really close to each other. It's going to be really interesting.
This is tooth and nail racing here. I mean, they're going to go down the wire.
Exactly.
Rice just managed to put on nose inside,
and he gets it from inside. Yeah, lovely bit of driving from both the drivers.
That was phenomenal driving. In the pits, they swap places.
Oh wow, this is surprising. We are on the 6th lap of the race, and Imdad Hussain has managed to get the lead, and Miban on P2, and Imesh is down to P6. And will somebody on this race too take the chances of not pitting at all and trying to give the maximum to all towards the end of the race? That is what I'm on a limbo because somebody did it before. That was Imesh on the race 1, and I want to see, interestingly, whether there are drivers who are going to replicate the same thing what Imesh did before. However, talking about Inuk, he's still on P8. I seriously do not know what's going on with Inuk Padumarachi, who gave a fantastic drive, who put in a great last lap in order to take the checkered flag first, but due to a penalty, he finished the race on P2 on the previous race. He's currently running at P8.
Rukshat, my money is going to be on Sam Smith. I think the guy who's read the strategy right could be Sam. If you look at the amount of fuel he has, amount of tires he's managed to conserve, Sam may be on there for a podium.
Let me see, what is Sam driving? Sam is driving Mitsubishi.
He's driving a Evo
Sam is driving a Mitsubishi. Yeah, and his front tires, if you look at his rear tires, it's as good as new. It is as good as new, and has done a fantastic job with managing the car with his oversteers, and he's managing the car totally well.
Yeah, but Rice is just under 3 seconds away from Sam. So it's going to be very, very tight. If you look at Rice now, you can see Rice, Sam, and Imesh are all three in the same frame. So it's a tight one there. It's too close to call right now. They've got 3 laps more to go. It's anybody's game right now. Sabri?
And now what's going to be interesting at the rate that Rise and Imesh are catching Sam. Sam could jeopardize Rise's chance and give Imesh a chance to get in front.
And let us pay a little bit attention to the mid-pack now. Inuk is racing Kitwit. Kitwit has managed to come up to P5.
And Kitwit makes a big
spins there. And Inuk moves up. Just as we started speaking about Kitwit, he ran into the barrier in this very unforgiving track. Mount Panorama battles, and he just crashed, and Inuk has managed to jump him owing to that crash, and it's so unfortunate. Kitwit is a real cool driver. I know him from the karting times. He's a very cool driver, and he just lost it under the tremendous pressure imposed by Inuk Madhumaraj. Now Inuk is up to P5, 14 seconds down on Imesh. Isn't that so?
55 seconds away from pole, from the stop. He's 14 seconds to Imesh.
Down to Imesh and 25 seconds to the leader. So Inuk has a lot of track work, a lot of baggage to clear out, a lot of track work to do because we are still on the lap 7. Emdad Hussein is leading. Rise is P2. Let's go and see where Rise is. He's 9 seconds down on Emdad. Has Emdad pitted?
Emdad has yet to pit, and I think he is trying to make it without pitting. I mean, yeah, but his tires look really bad.
Tires, and if you look at Emdad's tires, the front right has given way. Around 60% of the tires has gone. And can he hold on to to manage the remaining 2 laps? That is the biggest question. And he's driving a GTR. Technically,
before his tires go, he's gonna need fuel. He might be able to limp the car. He can limp the car to the checkered flag. He's got 8 seconds. There you go. He's gone off there. He can limp the car to the checkered flag, but he's got to run on fumes at the last bit. And this is a long circuit. And there's a barbecue, I'm told, a real Aussie barbecue after this event. So all these guys are waiting for this whole thing to come down. And I don't see Emdad being able to pull this one through.
And especially Mount Panorama, just as we spoke in the race 1 as well, a very unforgiving track with a very narrow ways and a little bit of runoff areas with grass. And if you run off the track, that could be the end of your race. So you have to manage your tires well, you have to manage your race well. However, managing the fuel, he is on fumes.
Emdad is going to come in this lap. Might take it from me.
He is redlining. Redlining as in not in the RPMs, but actually he has hit his warning on the fuel. And while his rears, the rear tires seems pretty good. He is understeering heavily, and he comes into the pits. And let's find out how he turned out on his outlap. And my friends, I would like to remind you, I put my money behind Raisway, and he's leading, and we have 2 more laps to lead. 2 more laps, and I'm sure he's going to lead this.
You
were right.
Seems like Imesh is stuck behind Sam as well. Sam is trying to go all the way without pitting, so he's doing a fabulous job so far, maintaining.
Guys, look at this race. Sam Smith and Imesh, they are fighting it very hard, side by side. Wow, this is tire to tire, and going into the quarry, passing Griffin's Mount, coming into the Reed Path, Frog Hollow. Oh,
that was close.
Beautiful.
Very close racing between these two. It's a fantastic race.
They are now going through those S's, and who comes out on top into the deeper corner by the forest elbow, my God, he's going to lead them off the Conrad straight before coming into the chase. It is Imesh now. He has managed to pull a gap of 1 second. What happens to Sam? Let's ride on board with Sam Smith, shall we? Sam has him in the sights, right at the attacking distance, and however, Imesh is holding on 1.2 seconds. They were side by side, just going into the SS. Now back onto the Conrad straight, going into the chase. Imesh is leading 1.5 seconds. He's pretty safe out there, and we will see. We are on the 9th lap. We have one more lap to go, and Inuk Madhumarachi, mind you, has moved up to 4th place. Point up. He's close to 10 seconds down on Sam Smith.
In the last lap, Inuk has scored 10 seconds.
That is quite a lot.
He was 25 seconds a little while ago when he went and came out the pits. He's caught 10 seconds there.
And he's 16 seconds off the leader. And going into the race leader, I want to see how many seconds he has managed to pull. Rise Umay has managed to pull a 6-second comfortable lap into the final lap. And if Rise manages his tires, let's look at his tires. Oh, he's on fresh tires. Rears are holding out just fine. He has enough fuel to hit the final lap.
No fuel. Imesh is going on fumes at the moment. How much longer does he have? Imesh has, in my opinion, he's got quite a bit more to go, and I don't think Imesh is going to make it. And correct me if I'm wrong, I am going to see Inuk back on the podium on this one.
If that happens, yes, we will see. And Imesh goes through the cutting corner, through the Griffith Fountain, read past, and I have no idea. This is going to be a fantastic race.
What do you call a nail biter? Absolutely nail biter here. Sabri?
Yes.
But I do think Imesh and Sam should be able to pass the line.
So your prediction was right, Nirosan, on Sam. You predicted it correctly on his strategy and his podium finish.
I'm not. It ain't over till the fat lady sings. There's quite a bit more to go. I have my doubt whether Imesh will be able to make it, because Imesh's lights started blinking from the fuel when he was in T3. And this is a long circuit. I'm not too sure how long it is.
Yeah, they are on the Conrad straight, the longest straight at this circuit. And Imesh, we are running now with Imesh, and he's far off Rise. He's coasting. He knows that he's on fumes, and he's coasting. And Rise is pulling close to a 10-second gap. And he now moves through the chase into the Murray corner, coming in on the checkered flag. And I'm pretty sure Rise is beaming and celebrating his finish, wins the race. And my money was right on the correct horse, I must say. Very happy for Rise. He drove a fantastic race. Imesh, though he ran on fumes, takes the checkered flag. Record speed to Sam Smith, another driver who ran on fumes. He manages to snatch the final step of the podium, and Inuk Madhumarachi takes P4, Mevan P5, and Imdad Hussain, who we thought would even go the extra mile in this car without a pit stop. He manages to finish P6. Sachetana Patirage, I beg your pardon, Sachetana Patirage, P7. Keith Sweet manages to finish 8th, and Rise went. What a drive. He has managed to clock the fastest time, 2 minutes 14 seconds and 0.031.
Before we log off, let's thank our sponsors once again. PETRONAS SYNTIUM for all the support that they've given us. SLT MOBITEL for the phenomenal data and the speeds. Most of these players now using either MOBITEL or SLT connections. The only way that they can run. And House of Glass, who've been assisting us right through with all the trophies. Not to mention Lab 57, who maintain all these race cars. The technical partners of this event, Lab 57, and AAAR, who are our partners with social media. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us. We hope to see you again for round 4. Stay safe.
Is it the richness of its heritage, the beauty of its natural bounty, the state of its state-of-the-art, or is it the bonds that bind us? For decades, SLT MOBITEL has been linking Sri Lankan lives and uniting the nation. Whatever the future may look like, we'll always be right here, connecting you to the things you care most about. SLT MOBITEL, the connection.